I never really had a like proper mentor, so I never knew how to go and get them, and I kind of had to figure it out. And I didn't have any necessarily any influences in my life, family wise, or friends to seek out the business advice from.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then I gathered a couple later on, and I took them more out of ego because they offered rather than being conscious about it. Can you give any tips about how you find the right mentors, how you seek them out, or just anything around selecting? Because I do believe you're some of the 5 people you spend the most time with,
Yeah.
and you've got to be really considerate of your input because, like you said, there's so much noise and the agenda associated with it. So, can you give any advice around that?
I can try to share from experience. So my first mentor would have to be my first boss, quite an incredible guy. And it's funny, you know, like he didn't just teach me about business. He, you know, I had a pretty good childhood. And then at the age of 15, mum and dad divorced. And from that point in my life, I was really looking for a male in my life to look up to. And it's funny how I found a role model or a mentor in my first boss in IT, and he started a surf business called Barlin and created Barlin leg ropes way back in the
Oh,
day.
wow. I know
So,
them.
you know, and Clean Ocean Foundation, he started that. And so like, you know, so he was my first mentor, and I met him through just life. And the thing is, what I saw in him was a lot like I aspired to be what he was like. So that was how I found him. So there's somebody who you aspire to live your life like. So he was surfing all the time. He was working flexibly. Yeah. He was traveling all the time. So I gravitated to that. Then my second mentor was one of the managers I had who was over in the US. And I had a tech business at this point. He was mentoring me. He had a background leading teams at IBM. So I had a strong corporate background. And he gave great advice, but he gave me great advice in situations that I was in. It was kind of like, you know, what do I do here? I'm stuck here. And then I'd go to him, and then he'd give me advice for a specific situation that I might be in. Where Pete, on the other hand, was more about the way of life he was living and how he'd go about life to create the outcome. So that would be, you know, an example of how another type of way you can get a mentor, and for different reasons. Then there's been the counsellors who I've actively seeked out when I've actually had a problem. So relationship challenges, which I think if anyone's in a relationship, most people have relationship challenges, because I don't know any relationships that are without them, because challenges are across everything. So, but I actively looked him out, and I actually asked other people, who do you recommend would be great to support me through this challenge I've got, type of thing. And so somebody referred that person. And this was for my, you know, we think about referrals and that type of thing in a business setting, but I got a referral for, you know, personal stuff. So I met Bill that way. So, and then like Brett Davis, who's an incredible guy in the surfing community, done some amazing things with Christian Surfers International, and started that out of his house in Cronulla. I spent time with him once a year over on the North Shore, he mentors me unofficially, but just through conversation and asking questions about, you know, things that are going on in life or challenges I might have. And he gave me some really good advice, some really, really good advice about mentorship, probably the best I've heard. And I've never heard anyone else speak of it before. He said, if you're going through life, you'd be really well placed if you've got somebody, you know, 10 to 15 years ahead of you who can provide you with guidance and advice, so somebody in front of you. He also said, if you can go through life with somebody walking beside you around the same age, you'll be really, really well placed around all the challenges in life. And if you've also got somebody who's following you and you're a mentor to them, like 10 years maybe down the track, he said you'll be really well placed to navigate your challenges through life, and also be in a position to help other people. And, you know, when I heard that, it really, really, really resonated, because I've never heard anybody say that. And,
yeah,
you know, there's a lot of people talking about mentorship and training and all that type of stuff. But when he said that, I was like, wow, it was quite profound. It had a significant impact. You know, I've actually got, every time I speak of his knowledge, it's quite incredible. So he's an incredible man.
I love those. I've never heard that either. And it makes perfect sense to me. And it probably does relate to advice that you get given for life in general, isn't it? Like having someone to follow, someone to walk beside, and someone to lead. And then you can switch into those roles as well, in terms of the seeker, the partner, and the leader.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Like I love that. And even with, like, I'm a father of 2 kids, and I've got my kids' photos up where I work. And then I've also got a photo of myself when I was younger at the same age next to them, just to remember what you're like at this age. Do you know what I mean? Because as a father, we want to lead and mentor and encourage and at times push, but at times we've got to sort of sit back. So I think the same in mentoring in business or seeking a mentor. So I hope some of those stories or experiences that I've had can get you thinking about different ways or different types and ways you can find mentors, and also, carefully maybe consider some people around you in your community who you can approach and have a conversation. Most people, when they get asked to be a mentor, will say yes. So, yeah.